the shadowy realms of the wild, where the untamed heart of nature beats with an unyielding rhythm, there lies a creature both majestic and tragic, the American bison. Picture this: a colossal beast, roaming the plains with an air of ancient wisdom, yet marred by a grotesque affliction that shocks the senses and chills the spine. A close-up reveals a wound so horrific, it appears as if the very fabric of its flesh has become a breeding ground for a sinister invasion. Barnacles, typically the bane of marine life, have found an unlikely host in this terrestrial giant. These crustaceans, with their hard calcareous shells, cling desperately to the bison's skin, creating a nightmarish spectacle of nature gone awry. But what drives these barnacles to such a grotesque parasitism? The answer lies in their life cycle. Barnacles, often found on rocks and ship hulls, begin their journey as tiny, free-swimming larvae, drifting through the water in search of a suitable surface to colonize. In a tragic twist of fate, the bison, perhaps seeking solace in a watering hole, becomes an unwitting target. The barnacles latch onto the bison's skin, burrowing into its flesh, feeding off the nutrients and blood, and forming a grotesque armor of living shells. The wound festers, a gaping maw of infection and suffering as the bison plods on, burdened by its ghastly companions. As these barnacles multiply, the bison's health deteriorates, leaving it vulnerable to predators and disease. It's a cruel reminder of nature's indifference, where beauty and horror coexist in a delicate balance. In this dark narrative, one might see a reflection of humanity's own parasitic tendencies. Just as the barnacles exploit the bison, humans often exploit the natural world, leaving scars that run deep and festering. We build our empires, consume resources, and in our wake, we create wounds that may never heal. Yet, in this tale of horror, there lies a sliver of irony. Perhaps we should consider that even in our darkest moments, nature has a sense of humor. After all, who would have thought that barnacles, the ultimate hitchhikers of the sea, would choose a bison as their landlocked ride? So, as we witness this tragic spectacle, let us ponder our own relationship with the world around us. Are we the bison, suffering under the weight of our own choices? Or are we the barnacles, clinging to a life that may be unsustainable? The answer may be more unsettling than we care to admit. In the quiet stillness of a sun-drenched pasture, a striking white horse stands, its coat gleaming like freshly fallen snow. But upon closer inspection, a horrific sight emerges. A barnacle wound, grotesque and alarming, festers on its flank. This is not a scene from a horror film. It is a stark reality that raises questions about the intersection of nature and the creatures that inhabit it. The barnacle, a small marine crustacean, typically clings to rocks and ships, but in a bizarre twist of fate, it has found a new host. The horse, once a symbol of grace and beauty, now bears the burden of an infestation that is as fascinating as it is repulsive. Barnacles, with their hard calcareous shells, attach themselves to surfaces using a powerful adhesive, and in this case, the horse's skin has become an unwitting canvas for these relentless invaders. As they latch on, they create a grotesque landscape of growths that can cause pain, infection, and even severe tissue damage. The horse's body, meant for galloping across fields, is now a battleground, where the struggle for survival takes on a new meaning. The barnacle infestation is not just a physical ailment. It is a reminder of the delicate balance between species and the often brutal realities of life in the wild. As we delve deeper into the science of barnacle infestation, we uncover the chilling truth: these creatures thrive in environments where they can latch onto unsuspecting hosts. The horse, perhaps drawn to a muddy water source or a brackish pond, inadvertently provided the perfect breeding ground for these crustaceans. The barnacles, in their quest for survival, have turned the horse into a living host, feeding off its nutrients while causing untold suffering. This dark symbiosis raises ethical questions about the impact of human activity on animal habitats. Are we, in our quest for progress, inadvertently creating conditions that allow such infestations to flourish? In the end, as we reflect on this unsettling tale, we are left with a moral conundrum. The barnacle, a creature often overlooked, serves as a metaphor for the consequences of our actions. Just as the horse suffers from an infestation it never asked for, so too do we face the repercussions of our choices in the natural world. Perhaps the next time we admire the beauty of a horse, we should also consider the unseen battles it may be fighting. After all, in the grand tapestry of life, we are all interconnected, and sometimes the most beautiful creatures bear the heaviest burdens. And remember, if you ever feel like a barnacle on life's great horse, just know that even the most majestic beings can have their own pesky problems. The camera pans across the dense, emerald foliage of the rainforest, the humid air thick with the drone of insects. We follow a lone gorilla, his powerful frame moving with the familiar grace of his kind. But something is terribly wrong. A grotesque swelling, a discolored mass, covers his left shoulder. It pulses, a sickening rhythm against his leathery skin. This isn't a simple injury, this is a living horror. A beehive, teeming with thousands of angry insects, is embedded deep within the gorilla's flesh. The sight is enough to make your stomach churn. Imagine the searing, relentless pain, the swarm of venomous stingers, each one injecting its toxic cocktail of venom into the gorilla's body. His massive muscles, designed to tear through vegetation and defend against predators, are now crippled by this invisible, stinging enemy. He thrashes, desperate to dislodge the hive, but the more he moves, the deeper the stingers penetrate. This isn't just a natural disaster. It's a gruesome reminder of the fragility of life in the wild. The gorilla, a symbol of strength and resilience, is brought low by a seemingly insignificant creature. The humblebee, his roars, once a testament to his dominance, are now filled with a primal agony. But how did this happen? How did a massive gorilla become a living host for a thriving bee colony? The answer lies in a cruel twist of fate. The gorilla, foraging for food, likely stumbled upon an abandoned beehive. Perhaps it was hidden within a hollow log, or nestled in the crook of a decaying tree. Unknowing of the danger, the gorilla reached in, a simple gesture, an instinctive search for sustenance. He never saw the angry bees, their protective instincts ignited by the intrusion. They swarmed, their tiny bodies a blur of fury, their stings a relentless barrage of agony. The gorilla, paralyzed by pain, could only retreat, the hive embedding itself deeper into his flesh, becoming a horrifying, pulsating tumor. He is left to suffer, a testament to the brutal realities of the wild. Ironically, the very creature meant to pollinate our planet, a symbol of industriousness and community, becomes the harbinger of his demise. The image lingers, a haunting reminder of the delicate balance in nature, a balance that can be shattered in an instant. The gorilla, once a king in his domain, is now a captive of his own vulnerability. His fate serves as a chilling reflection of our own precarious existence. We, too, are susceptible to the whims of nature, to the unseen forces that can bring us down. Perhaps the gorilla's agony is a silent plea, a warning to respect the power of the natural world, a world that can be both beautiful and terrifying, a world that demands our respect. In the deep, dark waters of the ocean, a leviathan stirs. This is not just any whale. This is a creature of immense size and grace, yet it carries a haunting burden that tells a tale of survival, suffering, and the relentless march of nature. As we plunge into the depths of its world, we encounter a grotesque sight that sends shivers down the spine, a gaping wound, a festering mass of barnacles clinging to the whale's skin like grotesque jewels of decay. It is a horrific manifestation of nature's fury, a reminder that beauty and brutality often coexist in the wild. The barnacle infestation is not merely a nuisance. It is a parasitic nightmare that can cripple even the mightiest of ocean giants. Barnacles, those seemingly innocuous crustaceans, begin their life as free-swimming larvae, drifting through the ocean currents in search of a place to settle. With a tenacity that is nothing short of remarkable, they latch onto any surface they can find, often choosing unsuspecting whales as their hosts. In this case, our whale has become a canvas for these relentless invaders. As they anchor themselves to its skin, they form a colony that grows and spreads, turning the once smooth surface into a rugged landscape of shells and sharp edges. The result is a wound that festers, an open sore that attracts other opportunistic organisms, further complicating the whale's plight. The barnacles themselves are a marvel of evolution, equipped with powerful adhesive secretions that allow them to cling tenaciously to their host. However, this remarkable adaptation comes at a cost. As the barnacles grow, they create pressure on the whale's skin, leading to inflammation and infection. The whale, once the epitome of grace, now struggles to swim, its movements hindered by the weight of its unwanted companions. The water around it becomes a swirling mix of blood and debris, a dark tableau of suffering that is both fascinating and repulsive. As we observe this tragic scene, we must confront the harsh realities of life in the ocean. The whale, a symbol of strength and majesty, is reduced to a mere host for these parasites, a victim of circumstance in the vast and uncaring sea. The barnacle infestation serves as a reminder of the delicate balance of ecosystems, where every creature plays a role, no matter how grotesque. Yet, there is a darker twist to this tale. The barnacles, while thriving on the whale, are also a reflection of a larger issue: the impact of human activity on marine life. Pollution, climate change, and habitat destruction create conditions that exacerbate infestations, pushing creatures like our whale into a desperate struggle for survival. In the end, we are left with a haunting question: what does it mean to coexist with nature? As we marvel at the beauty of the ocean, we must also reckon with the consequences of our actions. The barnacle-infested whale is not just a victim. It is a testament to the resilience of life, a reminder that even in the face of horror, survival persists. And while the sight may be disturbing, It also invites us to reflect on our place in this intricate web of existence. Perhaps